Hey guys, and welcome back to David Walliams' Gangster Granny. Today we're on chapters 22 and 23. So we just saw that he had an accident or didn't perform during the dance-off with Flavio Flavioli there. Flavio Flavioli got hit with a shoe that was meant for Ben. Find out what happens next. Chapter 22. Lycra Lynch Mob. An angry mob of ballroom dancing enthusiasts chased the little brown car down the street. Looking out the back window, Ben thought this would perhaps be the only time in history a lynch mob was dressed entirely in lycra. Dad put his foot down on the accelerator. And they turned the corner and lost them. Thank goodness I was there to give Flavio the kiss of life, said Mum from the front seat. He was just unconscious. He hadn't stopped breathing, Mom, and said Ben from the back. You can't be too careful, said Mum, reapplying her lipstick. Most of it was now smeared over Flavio's face and neck. Your performance was, in a word, dreadful and embarrassing, pronounced Dad. That's 2 words, corrected Ben with a chuckle. 3 if you count the end. Don't get funny with me, young lad, snapped Dad. This is no laughing matter. I was ashamed of you. Ashamed. Yes, ashamed, grumbled Mum in agreement. Ben felt like he would give anything to disappear. He would give all of his past and all of his future just so he didn't have to be sitting in the back seat of his Mum and Dad's car right now. I'm sorry, Mum, said Ben. I want to make you proud. I really do. It was true. Making his parents ashamed, well, that was the absolute last thing he wanted. However stupid he thought they were sometimes. Well, you have a funny way of showing it, said Mum. I just don't like dancing, that's all. That's the point. Your mother spent hours making your costume, said Dad. It's strange how parents always refer to each other as mother or father rather than Mum or Dad when you are in trouble. You made no effort up there on the stage whatsoever, continued Dad. I don't think you even rehearsed once. Not once. Me and your mother worked night and day to give you the opportunities we never had. And this is how you treat us? With contempt, said Mum. Contempt, echoed Dad. A single tear ran down Ben's cheek. He caught it with his tongue. It tasted bitter. The 3 sat in silence in the car as it rumbled home. No words were spoken as they got out of the car and went into the house. As soon as Dad opened the front door, Ben bounded up to his room and slammed the door. He sat on his bed, still in his love bomb outfit. Ben had never felt more alone. He was hours late to meet Granny. Not only had he let down his mom and dad, he had let down the one person he had grown to love more than anyone, his Granny. They were never going to steal the crown jewels now. Just at that moment there was a quiet tap on his window. It was Granny. Dressed in her scuba diving gear, the old lady had climbed a ladder to reach her grandson's bedroom window. Let me in, she mouthed theatrically. Ben couldn't help but smile. He opened the window and hauled the old lady inside, like a fisherman might haul a particularly big fish onto his boat. You are very late, admonished Granny as Ben helped her over to the bed. I know. I'm sorry, said Ben. We said 7 o'clock. It's 10:30. The sleeping tonic I gave the guards at the tower will be wearing off soon. I'm really sorry. It's a long story, said Ben. Granny sat on Ben's bed and looked up at him, up and down. And why are you dressed like a demented Valentine's card? She demanded. As I said, it's a long story. It was a bit rich for Granny to criticize what he had on, considering she was dressed in a wetsuit and scuba diving mask. But there wasn't time to get into that now. Quick, boy, put on this wetsuit and follow me down the ladder. I'll start up the mobility scooter. Are we really going to steal the crown jewels, Granny? Well, we're going to have a go, said the old lady with a smile. Chapter 23, Caught by the Fuzz. They whirred through the town, Granny driving, Ben clinging on behind her, both in wetsuits and diving masks, with Granny's handbag wrapped in miles of cling film sitting in the front basket at the front. Granny spotted Raj closing up the newsagent's shop. Hello, Raj, dear. Don't forget to save me some Murray mints for Monday, she shouted. Raj looked at the two of them, open-mouthed in shock. I don't know what's got into him. He's normally so chatty. It was a long way to London, especially on a motorized scooter with a top speed of 3 miles per hour, with two passengers. After a while, Ben noticed the roads getting wider and wider. 2 lanes, then 3 lanes. Bounds! We are on the motorway! Shouted Ben from the back as 10-ton lorries whooshed past, nearly wrenching the scooter off the road with the force of their slipstream. You know, you really shouldn't swear, young man, said Granny. Now I'm going to step on it. Hold on tight. A moment later, a particularly big petrol tanker thundered by, inches from their heads, beeping its horns. Big hairy bums! Shouted Granny. Granny! Said Ben, shocked. Whoops! That one just slipped out, said Granny. Grown-ups never lead by example. I'm sorry, Granny, but I'm not sure this thing is built for a motorway, said Ben, just as then an even bigger lorry blustered past. Ben could feel the wheels of the scooter lift off the road for a second as the slipstream dragged it into the lorry's wake. I'll take the next exit, said Granny, but before she could, flashing blue lights began to spin behind them. Oh no, it's the fuzz! Let's see if we can outrun them. She slammed her foot on the accelerator, and the scooter leapt from 3 miles per hour to 3.5 miles per hour. The police car drove alongside them, and the officer inside gestured angrily for them to pull over. Granny, you'd better pull over, said Ben. We're done for. Let me handle this, my boy. Granny stopped the mobility scooter on the hard shoulder as the police parked the car in front of them, blocking any chance of escape. It was a big car, and dwarfed the scooter. Like a very tall person dwarfs, well, a dwarf. Is this your vehicle, madam? Said the police officer. He was fat and had a small mustache, which made his fat face look even fatter. He also had a smug expression on his face that suggested telling people off was his favorite thing in the world. Or maybe second favorite, after donuts. His name tag said that he was called PC Fudge. Is there a problem, officer? Said Granny, innocently, her diving mask a little steamed up from all the excitement. Yes, there is a problem. The use of motorized mobility scooters on motorways is strictly prohibited, said the police officer in a patronizing tone. Other modes of transport not permitted on a motorway are skateboard, canoe, roller skates, donkey, shopping trolley, unicycle, sledge, rickshaw, camel, magic carpet, comedy ostrich. Well, thank you so much for pointing that out, officer. We'll remember that for next time. Now, if you'll excuse us, we're running a little late. Goodbye, said Granny cheerily as she restarted the mobility scooter. Have you been drinking, madam? I had some cabbage soup before I came out. Alcohol, I mean. He sighed. I had a brandy liqueur chocolate on Tuesday night. Does that count? Ben couldn't help but chuckle. PC Fudge's eyes narrowed. Then would you care to explain to me why you are dressed in a scuba diving gear with your handbag wrapped in cling film? This was going to take some explaining. Because, Granny was stumbling over her words. They were done for. Because we are from the Cling Film Appreciation Society, said Ben with authority. Well, I've never heard of that, said PC Fudge dismissively. We are very new, said Ben. Just 2 members so far, added Granny, continuing to lie. And we like to keep the society low-key, so we have our meetings underwater, hence the wetsuits. The policeman looked utterly baffled. Granny didn't stop talking, apparently in the hope that she might baffle him further. Now, if you'll excuse us, we are in a rather hurry. We have to get to London for an important meeting with the Bubble Wrap Association Society. We are thinking of merging the two organizations. PC Fudge was all but lost for words. How many members have they got? Just 1, said Granny. But if we join forces, we can save money on tea bags and photocopying and paper clips and the like. Goodbye. Granny put her foot down on the accelerator, and the mobility scooter lurched off. Stop right there, said PC Fudge, holding his podgy hand out straight in front of him. Ben froze in terror. He wasn't even 12 yet, and he was going to spend the rest of his life in jail. PC Fudge leaned over and put his face next to Granny's. I'll give you a lift. And how will that lift go? Find out tomorrow, right? All right, you got some work to do. We'll see you next time for chapters 24 and 25, Dark Water.